Well, good morning, and maybe good afternoon, everybody. I'm not sure when you're seeing this, but it's so good to have you join us again from Conversations from 6 Feet. I feel like we really misnamed this thing at the start. It was a 6 feet distance between me and Beth Moss. Well, now we're more like 6 blocks, 6 miles, six whatever. And so thanks for joining us. It's just an opportunity to provide families at home, individuals, with some way of connecting and also some helpful tips as we are going through this strange time together for the first time. And I'm just really happy to be introducing you all today to Mark and Catherine Benno. They are some of my favorites at Bethel, and I know that they enjoy Jeremy a whole lot, and Miss Jan and the staff. And Mark and Catherine, welcome. It's great to have you here with us.
Thank you so
And,
much.
and I won't say who's who. We won't ask you. I think teacher Catherine says it.
Don't look at that.
But why don't you tell us both, just introduce yourselves a little bit. Tell us a bit about yourselves.
Sure. I'll start.
Okay.
So I grew up in New Jersey. My mom's still there. Spent most of my career in Maryland after going to college in Pennsylvania. So I was a teacher and an elementary school principal, and we moved down here 3 years ago, about 3 years ago. And so we are excited to be here in Cornelius.
So I grew up in the Dallas area and went to Baylor for my undergrad and master's. Loved it there, and found my way into education. That wasn't my initial field, but absolutely have enjoyed the education side of my career for last 23 years now, I believe, and did my doctoral work at Mississippi State, and did that in technology and how that applies to instruction. So we've really enjoyed Lake Norman. We've really enjoyed Bethel. We've been attending for close to 2 years now.
Yeah. Well, I know that you're part of the Connections class, and we're getting that going in a flipped classroom kind of a
Ooh, excited.
Looking forward to rolling that out this week. So tell us a little bit, just give us an update. How are things in the Benno household?
We're actually enjoying this. I normally travel extensively for work, and I'm home on the weekends, but on airplanes most every day. And so it's been about a month now since I've been to the airport, which is fantastic. And it's just given us a good time to connect. It's the very first virtual Sunday you talked about just the opportunity to connect more with family and connect more with God. And we've really just harnessed both of those opportunities, and we've had a great time just together and a great time with Abby as well.
Is Abby celebrating this too?
Most of the time, yeah. We had to find a new normal, and how do we do office spaces and conference calls and virtual sessions with multiple sessions going on, plus Abby trying to do her work. So I think we've got a pretty good routine and setup going on now. So it took us a hot second, but yeah, things are going really well now.
That's amazing that it even took a hot second. That's how you. So it sounds like you've got a routine going, and that's I think a question that I'm not getting necessarily, but I'm hearing a lot of, and we've spoken about it last week with our one of our initial conversations with Sheila Cox, who talked really about the importance of structure in a week. And I'm wondering, how does that translate to kids and learning? What's the role of that?
Let's say why it's important.
Yeah, it is important. A lot of kids will tell you, oh, I don't want rules, I don't want guidance, I don't want structure, but the reality is they do. And they need us as adults to help them to understand freedom within a structure, to give them a sense of what the parameters are, what our expectations are, but then to still give an opportunity for them to move a little bit within that. So providing a schedule that they can see on a daily basis, a weekly basis, that's important. And making sure that they stay with it is an important piece as well. They will grow when we give them the opportunity to have some flexibility, but they're also going to grow when we give them plenty of boundaries.
I was laughing. We had that game night, our first game night, and it was pretty funny. I think Jeremy asked a question about, when has anybody woken up past noon yet? And there were some parents, I was allotting their honesty that yes, there were some of the kids that were sleeping past noon. And that can be very tempting. I imagine very difficult if you've got a few kids, and also how how do parents provide structure, and then kind of not only in the day, but that support that they're going to need for home learning specifically.
Yeah. We had, it's my sister's birthday today, so we had a FaceTime going on with multiple families with different ages of kids all across the country, and having this exact conversation. How are the different families structuring that? And one of my cousins is, very firm in her schedule. She wanted to keep exactly crisp to how her school schedule was. We have relaxed a little bit in that Huff starts so early. Normally, Abby's getting on the bus at 5:55 a.m., which is, it's a little rough for us. So we, when we started this process, we sat down with her and had her kind of craft that schedule to have some ownership. I think when kids feel empowered in setting some routines, they own it, and then it becomes easier to manage through the process. So her day starts officially at 9:00, and she's got different blocks of time, and she's allocated what those look like. So we did a first draft, and she created a checklist and all of these different processes. And then the school came back with some different routines and processes. So we did a second iteration. Sounds like this week we'll have a third iteration. So for families to be flexible and stay on top of it and keep those routines, because they do feel safe and secure to kids. We get up and get showered and get dressed every day. We make sure that we have our meal times and all of those pieces. But it is important for the kids to have those. We also look at making sure that we have designated learning spaces in the house. Like we said, our office spaces we have, but also a place where Abby can go to learn. So some kids, that might be a desk, in an office or a bedroom or a common area. For others, it might be more flexible learning environment. They need to be able to get up and move while they're learning, or sit in a comfortable area. That's okay. We do that in classrooms as well. But turning off those distractions, turn off the TV, shut down the notifications on apps. I think all of those are really helpful to kids. And then for parents, making sure that we're working from home, and then you're trying to manage your child's schedule. And like you said, multiple kids' schedules, and who's online when, and which teacher, and then what are the activities. So it could be very easy for parents to get so consumed in the home learning that they don't tend to their needs as well. So we made sure that we aligned, when are our calls and our meetings, and when, is her learning time. So everything aligns pretty well, pretty well.
Yeah, I think
I've got to imagine that that scenario sounds great, but when we start throwing in 3-4 kids, each with different schedules, and 2 parents who may be working, are there any tips that you might have in that kind of situation? How do you get through that and keep your sanity and not just pull each other's hair out?
Yeah. So my sister has 3 little boys, all in elementary school. And so I'm supporting them each day. It's one of the components of my business that I facilitate. And so we have structures in place for them. So, they have reading time, they have math time, they have art time and PE time. But there are times where the kids are doing online reading, and it's a 1 hour block of time where mom and dad are both on conference calls at that time. And the kids know, everybody needs to sit and be quiet and read during this time. But I think the younger the kids are, when you've got preschool, kindergarten, they tend to need you a little bit more. So it does get more challenging. So using your support system, using your resources, I think all of those pieces, but also being kind to yourself, and knowing that it's hard for teachers in a classroom. It's really hard for parents to facilitate this. So it's not going to be perfect, and you might need to be flexible, and it'll change over time. But really, the most important thing for us to do is to take care of our children's, the mental, the spiritual, their physical, making sure they get outside, but helping them feel safe and secure in their environment, and continue to support and love them and make them feel secure in their environment.
Yeah, I think that's a good word there, Catherine. I'll call it, showing a generous amount of grace in this situation, both for others, but for ourselves. And it isn't going to be perfect. It is, this is not a new normal, and we praise God for that. It's not like, okay, well, now we're going to have to adjust to this for the rest of our lives. But it certainly is a new something, and to give ourselves the patience and say, okay, you know what, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Yeah. One of the things that I'm curious about is, as we get into this and parents are more involved now in their education, what if other beyond the subject matter, what about areas of passion that we may spot and want to I don't know, put some flavoring into that? What would you say about that?
Yeah, and I think kids typically today are so busy. We book up their schedules with sports and, brownies and Cub Scouts and all of those things. It can be very easy for us to get so consumed in those day-to-day schedules that this is actually an opportunity for us to provide some really enriching opportunities for creative exploration for our kids. So when Abby was building her schedule, she actually on her own, now she's a ninth grader, but she built in on her own some opportunities for arts and crafts. She wanted baking, she wanted music class built into her schedule. So she has done baking. She has not done a very good job of cleaning dishes. That has not been going well. But she turned our laundry room into an art studio. So what's a safe place for her to paint? Okay, so our laundry room has become an art studio. And she's been teaching herself how to play piano. So she pulls up the iPad or projects up onto the TV, YouTube, how to play the piano. And she's out there teaching herself Christmas carols and all sorts of songs. So it's a really good opportunity. You're in this environment where you can do some really interesting and exciting things with your kids that are just different from what they normally experience. And also thinking about some of the things that are available online. So we actually are looking at a marine biology virtual club, summer camp. It's like a camp experience on Facebook for her. She yesterday said, I really want to go back to being a marine biologist. There's so many free classes and authors doing readings and virtual tours of museums. There's almost so much that it's hard for the parent to kind of whittle that down to really make sense of it. But just, take one thing that your child might be interested in and see what you can do with it.
Yeah, I want to add to that. And it's another opportunity, not just to help your kids with something that they're passionate about, but even as an adult to take an opportunity to learn something that you don't know. Not just because you get the opportunity to learn, but your kids see you as a learner. And in many cases, they don't see that. So this is a great opportunity for us as parents to model lifelong learning for our kids.
That I love your responses to that, because this is just such a cool opportunity for parents that I know I was so concerned to stack up my daughter's schedule when she was in school, and we never took the time just to explore the passion area and that interest, and what a neat thing. So thanks for pulling that out. Before we conclude, is there anything else you all would want to share or add?
Yeah, I think there's some other things that you can do just in terms of some resource management. This is not necessarily just a kid thing, but anybody that's trying to do all this working from home, thinking about all the different people that are going to be hitting on your local bandwidth in your house or your apartment. If you've got large-scale video conferences that are most important, ask other people to schedule around those. If you've got automatic updates to software on your computer, turn those off, pause those during the daytime, let those run at night. If your computer backs up to a cloud, have it do that at night. Little bitty things like that can help you with the bandwidth part of this. And then I think the other part is take some time just to put the technology away. Get outside, do some things with your family, with your kids that don't involve anything with the screen. Just be together and enjoy the moment, because the day's going to come when we'll lament that this is over, not because of the health crisis, not because of the economic crisis, but because we really enjoyed that time of family. And we'll be back to screens and back to the airplanes and back to class, and we'll say, gosh, remember that time when we had several months just to really be together? And I think we're going to miss it.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do. Listen, Catherine and Mark, thank you for this. I'll share with the audience that Mark was really excited about this. Catherine was a little nervous. She wanted to, but listen, both of you, thank you. You bring a lot of experience to parents who are trying to do some new things here, and had some very practical tips. Thank you for this, and thanks you all for joining us for this Conversations from 6 Feet. And my name's Tom Boone. If you're joining us from another church, we're glad to have you with us. And we look forward to our Thursday conversations. We're going to be having a word from Joshua Doby with North Main Financial. He's going to provide us some practical suggestions, helpful tips on the financial aspect of what's going on, because our attention really is on all that. And those of you looking for advice on the SBA, this huge $2 trillion package that just got sent out, he's going to speak a little bit to that. So again, look forward to seeing you on Thursday. And thank you all. We'll see you next time.